Hey, I'm Carlita, and you're watching Carlita Talk, brought to you by PPSV Charities, where we highlight individuals who live with purpose, resilience, and a champion mindset. Today, I sat down with Cam F. Awesome, former amateur and semi-pro boxer turned motivational speaker, who shared how changing the way he saw himself transformed not just his career, but his entire life. You'll definitely want to hear this one. All right, let's get started.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
Pretty good. It's been a good day. I nothing really on my schedule today other than this, so I got to spend my morning going through thoughts and then journaling, meditating, going through speeches.
Nice.
Creativity time.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's nice to have those days because you travel a lot, don't you?
Yeah. I just got back yesterday, and I'm home for like 6 days, which is the longest stretch in a while.
Yeah. Where do you live?
I live in Austin, Texas.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's pretty dope down here.
Yeah. Do you like it out there? Have you been there for a long time?
No, I moved out here last year to pursue comedy.
Oh,
It's like a huge comedy scene down here, so I moved down here for that, and
okay.
pretty good move. Also, there's no real winter. I mean, it's nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've heard Austin's great. I've never been there before, but I'd like to go there sometime.
Come check it out. It's dope.
Yeah, I would. So tell me a little bit about yourself, what you do. I know that a little bit of what Marquise told me, but will you explain to me?
So a little bit about me. I used to be a boxer. I got into boxing because of bullying. And in 11th grade, I figured if I just looked like a boxer, people would leave me alone. And I lost a fight to a girl in 9th grade. And I was just like always anxious and afraid of all the time. And then 11th grade, I joined the boxing gym, and I was boxing for about a year. I wasn't special or anything, but my senior year of high school, my parents moved to Florida, and it would have been devastating for most people, but for me, it was like a fresh start. I got to be whoever I wanted.
Yes.
Do you remember the show Family Matters?
Yes.
Okay. Steve Urkel would drink a potion and he would turn into Stefan or Cal, a cooler, more confident version of himself.
Mm-hmm.
And my plan of moving to Florida was just be my version of Stefan. And I stopped wearing glasses. I started wearing contacts, and I left New York as Cameron, and I introduced myself to everyone in Florida as Cameron, the very relevant rapper at the time. And everyone in Florida believed that I was this charming, outgoing, funny guy from New York. And I was still that shy, unconfident person faking it. My boxing gym was a 6-mile walk from my high school. And I didn't have an iPod. So I was just like stuck with my thoughts for 3 hours. And I would make up stories in my head, and all of these stories, like I was kicking butt. And I had all the money, all the cars, all the championship belts. None of it was true, but I saw a direct correlation between how highly I spoke about myself and how well I did in the gym. And the better I did at the gym, the more excited I was for the walk. So that kind of created a feedback loop of confidence. And within 2 years of boxing, I became the #1 boxer in the country. So that's kind of like.
How old were you? Were you
17?
So when you moved to Florida, how old were you?
16.
You're 16. So within that year, you were like, kind of like went off.
Yeah.
Into this new version of you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
The story I made up.
So you faked it until you made it.
Yeah.
That's how you do it, man. That's manifesting. That's manifesting your life right there.
Yeah, I didn't even know what manifesting was back then.
Yeah,
and now I look back at it, I was like, oh yeah, that's what was going on.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so what do you do now?
I'm a speaker. So yeah, I'm a keynote speaker for a living. So I travel around. I lived in my van for 3 years, speaking in high schools and middle schools. I was in about 200 schools a year for about 3 years before the pandemic happened. And since transitioned into the corporate space. So I'm like a keynote speaker now, like do conferences and.
Yeah. What do you talk about?
Mindset and the story we tell ourselves, because we all tell ourselves stories, whether that story is I'm too old to start over, or I'm not smart enough to go after that thing, or people like me or people that come from where I come from don't get opportunities like this. Like we all tell ourselves stories, and we tell ourselves that story so often that it stops sounding like a story and starts feeling like truth.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
Yeah. So basically, if you can, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. What would it look like if you just thought you could?
Yeah. I love that. That's amazing. That's a really good thing to go around and teach people. Because yeah, we get stuck. We get stuck. Yeah. And that's where depression comes from, right? Getting stuck in those thoughts and those like repetitious behaviors and patterns that we get stuck in that we believe are true. When it's just like, man, things are endless. It's endless, the possibilities. Like we have no idea. You know what I mean? The endless possibilities.
But sometimes like when life is dealing cards, if you don't like the cards it's dealing you, you have to shuffle the deck. But that looks uncomfortable. That means shuffling the deck. What I envision that meaning is like doing something you would never normally do, dressing in a way you would never normally dress, breaking whatever patterns you're currently doing. And the more ridiculous of a pattern it is to break, I believe the greater of a change you'll make in your life.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. So do you think being, as a teenager and as a kid that was like bullied and felt bad, like how directly do you feel that impact to where you are now, like as that little kid?
I'm grateful I didn't know there was a term for anxiety. Or I didn't know that was a thing, and I didn't know you could get help for it. So I basically gave myself exposure therapy, and I never got to see it as a crutch. I just got to see it as it was something that I was creating. So there's like, I would tell myself the story that I was shy and awkward. So when there was times for me to speak up, I wouldn't even allow myself to speak up because I have to fulfill that role of being that shy person. And then when I got to Florida, no one knew anything. So I felt like I could be free.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's so powerful. Yeah.
It is so powerful because I'm also the shy and awkward kid. And we both are now on a podcast talking to each other.
Yeah, look at us.
Look at us. Yeah, I get that. That's awesome.
Yeah. So what kind of got you into the podcasting space, and what's the message you want to share?
Well, what got me here initially was Marquise and PPSV Charities, and they're being, very open and willing for me to use this, especially for the charity. So that's what got me started. Also, I've been on a healing journey my whole life, but specifically, probably pretty intensely the last 4 years of like coming out of my shell, coming out of that awkward phase. And, the pattern I keep telling myself of like, you could never be on camera. You're a behind the scenes person. Cause I also do hair and makeup. I do it for photo shoots, all kinds of things, but mostly weddings. So I've always been like the behind the scenes person. And so I've always told myself that I'm the behind the scenes. I'm not in front of the camera person. I'm awkward. I don't know how to talk. Maybe I'm not smart enough. All these things that you tell yourself. And when Marquis started telling me that he really wants me to do this, I was just like, okay, yeah, let's try it. This person sees it. Oh, okay, this person sees it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
sounds like Marquis hasn't changed. He's the same guy then. Yeah. It's very encouraging.
He's very encouraging. And it was like, if this person can see this, like, I'm going to be a yes person and not a no person, and stop telling myself these stories and do it and see what happens. Because what's the worst that can happen? Oh, then I'm awkward and, all these other things that I tell myself. It's like, okay, just try it and see what happens. So,
yeah, I love that. I became the #1 boxer in the country within 2 years. And I realized like that was a superpower, like thinking I can. So I just did that. And I won nationals in 2008, 9, 10, 11, 2012. I won the U.S. Olympic trials to represent the U.S. in the London Olympics. And I was kicked off the Olympic team for not sending in my drug testing paperwork. I didn't fail the test. I failed to fill out the forms. And it was the whereabout forms. I left the country, didn't tell the drug testing agency. They showed up to my home to give me a random drug test. I missed drug test as a positive drug test. And just like that, I was kicked off the Olympic team and suspended for a year.
Mm.
And I went from being like on top of the world, speaking highly about myself, to a lot of drinking, falling back into my shell, very slippery, dark slope, depressed. And it was time for me to return to boxing. And I do nothing else besides fight. So I'm like, okay, I have to return to boxing. And I'd gained a lot of weight and I couldn't lose the weight. And I would work out for a few days and I would fall off and I would start again and I'd fall off over and over. And I felt like I had lost my spark, my magic. And then one day, like, look in the mirror, I'm like, you idiot, you fat loser. How did we get here? And I realized at the moment, there's a difference between me in 2012 and the me that walked to the gym in high school. One of us liked me. So what I often ask people is, how do you talk to yourself?
Yeah.
And no one knows that other than you, because you're the only person in there. And we've never been taught to think highly of ourselves. From you can earn, woman more so than anyone. Don't take up too much space. Don't be like a burden. Don't let anyone think you're smarter than them. So you're constantly forced to play smaller.
Especially a woman of color, whether
Yes.
you're black or brown or yeah.
So you start to play smaller, and then you're telling yourself a story, and your character in that story has to be small. So you don't speak up, you don't take up space. And during my suspension, I read all the comments. You probably shouldn't. I really wish there were more comments, because honestly, before the Olympics started, people forgot I wasn't going. That's how little people are thinking of you. It's called spotlight syndrome. We think everyone's paying attention to us at all times. Everyone's so busy with their own stuff. But I was reading those comments, and one of the most frequent comments was a remark on who I used to be, because I was fun. I knew I was going to win. I would flip in the ring. I did celebration dances. I wore capes. I was a good time. And when I got suspended, the number one comment was, I bet he's humble now.
Mm.
And it hurt, but I didn't know why. It didn't feel good. And I looked up the definition of humble. Have you ever done it?
No.
Is your phone on you right now?
I do have my phone on me right now.
Grab it. It will blow your mind. Okay. Do you have any kiddos?
I do. Yeah.
How many?
He's 17 tomorrow. Just one.
Oh, 17. All right. Think about him when you read this definition. Yeah. So when I read this, it changed the way I looked at the way I talk to myself.
Maybe if I spell it right.
That sometimes helps. But this changed my motivation and the way I talk to myself after I figured this out. And when I share this, I don't want to change anyone's minds. I just want to challenge the way you think.
Oh, modest or not proud?
Is there a second definition?
Submissive, reflecting, expressive. Yeah.
Okay, the definition.
Lowly, of low rank, status, or origin.
Okay, of low rank, status, or origin. Would you wish that upon your child?
No.
Okay, so in the definition I saw was having a low or modest estimate of one's own importance. The Latin root word of humility is humilis, which is lowly. So you're literally telling someone from your son's a child. When he wins, don't celebrate too much. Don't make anyone feel like you're too much better than them. Don't celebrate. Don't celebrate yourself. And you constantly hear that from the time you're a child.
Yeah.
So when you see someone, you're in the podcast world, you run to someone, you're killing in the podcast world, and you run into someone who's not. What do we normally do in this situation? We humble ourselves down, not to where they are, just a little bit lower so they can feel better about themselves. Who does being humble serve? And I thought about it. I don't want to lower myself down for anyone. And when I was doing the best in my life is when I was speaking to myself the highest.
Mm-hmm.
So I realized my magic came from the story I told myself. I wanted to start telling myself a better story. After I got suspended, I was like, you idiot, you loser, you can't figure it out. And that's what I was doing. I was allowing the external circumstances to dictate my internal dialogue. But to switch that, you have to do something almost crazy to get out of that pattern. You have to ignore your current reality and speak your future reality into existence. You have to believe in yourself blindly. Mm-hmm. And I felt so strongly about that. I went to City Hall. I spent $178 and I legally changed my last name to Awesome as a reminder that I am dope.
I
And
love that.
yeah,
When I asked him I'm like, what's his last name? I'm like, that's his last name? And he's like, yeah. I was like, oh my gosh, like that's so cool.
yeah. Because yeah, that's the only thing standing between me and my comeback was the story I was telling myself.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'm just gonna tell myself the story that I'm awesome. And I wasn't awesome at the time. I was overweight, I was depressed, I was sad, but I decided I was going to start speaking to myself like someone who deserved all the things.
Yeah.
And it's free to think highly of yourself.
Yeah.
It is literally the greatest investment you can make is the story you tell yourself.
It is, but how does that work? So like when you start doing it, how can you like tell us like how does that feel? Does it feel natural? Is it hard kind of to like keep, you know what I mean?
You're delulu. That's what it is. You have to be delusional. You have to ignore your current reality and speak your future reality into existence. And it's not going to match up. It's not going to align. It's going to feel awkward and clunky.
Mm-hmm.
And some people who are going to be around you are not going to like your new story.
Right. So give us an example of what you're talking about. Like what would you say to yourself?
So when I first told my family I was boxing, I was going to join the boxing gym, they all laughed because I didn't come from the most empathetic house. It's like, I got beat up by girls. So when I got home, I didn't get, are you okay? I got, you better do them dishes before we call that girl back over here to whoop your butt again. When I decided to join the boxing gym, they laughed. I'm the kid who got beat up by a girl. Mm-hmm. And I realized from a very early age, if the story I'm trying to tell doesn't go along with the story of the people around me, sometimes you got to keep your business to yourself. And I had my first 4 boxing matches without telling anyone in my family. It's like, not everyone's going to see your vision.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's super important because I think we get too in our head, right? And when we start doing that, then we're like, oh, guess what? I have this and I have this. And when you get shot down by anybody, you start to lose that spark a little bit. So it's important to keep some things to yourself because you don't want anybody to take that light away from you.
Yeah, and there's like 8 or 9 billion people on this planet. You can't talk to everyone twice. Like you don't have to be around the people that you're around. Like the idea of protecting your energy, being around you is a blessing. Like people should earn that right, and not everyone gets it. So you got to start cutting some people off.
Yeah.
And yeah, and hang out with people you want to be like, and it's a lot of times it's the people who you aren't that comfortable around. They're the level up. You're trying to level up in life, and even being around them are comfortable because people who come from like you come from, you don't know how to talk like them or walk like or be or even walk in that energy of accepting more. So it makes you uncomfortable. Good. If the people around you make you that comfortable, they're not helping you grow.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, that's good. That's a good point.
Here's something I also realized that hit me because I'm very much like sometimes you got to cut people off to like grow. Mm-hmm. And it hit me like there's some people in my life who had cut me off. And I realized they probably needed to do that to grow. Yeah. And like I felt a way about it. And then kind of looking at it like they shouldn't stick around with me if it's not beneficial to them.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even in the place where I wanted to be. So yeah, I saw that and it was like a full circle moment, like, oh, because I cut people off and I was like, oh, there are some people who were ahead of me and they saw things and they wanted to stop things before I did. Yeah. And yeah, I was like, oh,
but that's cool how life works. Sometimes that too is the universe making that happen because maybe they're not supposed to go on the same road with you, right? So it's like maybe they're not necessarily cutting you off because they're going on this road that like they feel is higher than you or whatever. Maybe it's more like you guys just need to do this if you want to go on that direction, you know, because they're not going to be able to go with you over there.
Yeah. Yeah. Not being attached to anything, anyone, or any outcome. Yeah. I think that was a big thing that when changing my last name, I realized I wasn't going to let the outcome determine who I am. So I never allowed myself to feel extra good when I won. Because if you allow yourself to feel extra good when you win, then you have to feel extra bad when you lose.
Mm.
So I feel good just showing up. Granted, I don't get to celebrate. I don't get those highs of like winning because I don't put much value in that. But also I get no lows from losing. I'm at peace.
Oh, that's great. That's a really, I think that's important. I don't think a lot of athletes, I don't know if a lot of athletes, I don't know how a lot of athletes do it, but I feel like that is really such a good way to think about it. Yeah. You're just like in this zone right here versus like,
Yeah. And then I saw so many boxers, they had put such pressure on themselves where, let's say it was the finals, it was televised, it was like bright lights, and they don't realize that they're doing the same exact thing they were doing when they're in the gym and no one was looking. But they put all this allure into this moment and they put the moment on a pedestal. I don't do that.
yeah. Yeah.
You don't get to enjoy things fully, but it's consistent.
Right. Yeah. And I feel like it's, it goes back to like the highs and the lows of like, what we were talking about before, like when you were a kid and, or even, I don't know, when you were talking about, you'd get so excited about, what were you saying? You were talking about getting so excited and you lit up when you did that, but it was like, it feels like more like being in this middle zone. It's just, I don't want to say the word safe, but it's more peaceful.
Yeah. Yeah. Peaceful's boring. Yeah. No one really realized that's why no one's excited for peace.
But it's so nice.
It,
I love
it
peaceful.
I think with age, peace becomes nice. I think when I was younger, I couldn't appreciate peace. And even if I got to my point of peace, I'd do something to mess it up.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
the boat's just floating too easy. Let's mess up the currents a little bit.
Yeah.
Shake things up.
Self-sabotage a little bit.
Ooh, and self-sabotage it's so good at hiding. You don't really realize that you're doing it. You can see it in other people clear as day. And then you see it in someone else clear as day. You're like, you can't even see what you're doing to yourself. But then you have to take a look at yourself. Like, if they can't see it, what can't I see?
Yeah.
And every so often I have to have those check-ins with myself. Yeah. Therapy's been good for that.
Yeah.
I used to think therapy was for crazy people. And like, because growing up, that was not something anyone I knew ever did. And I've been going for maybe about 2 years now, and I'm figuring out more and more what to get out of it. And I see it as like you're a boxer in the ring, and your corner is there, and they're yelling out what to do, and they're not in there with you, and they can't feel the pressure of the hits, but they have a perspective that you don't have, or an angle that you don't have, and they're giving you advice. You don't have to take it.
Mm-hmm.
And having a therapist, they're like, she's giving me advice, and I don't necessarily have to take it, but it's perspective I wouldn't normally see on my own.
Yeah.
Looking for blind spots.
Well, I think therapy is good to have somebody outside of the situation to talk to about things, right? That's not a family member, that's not a friend, but like somebody that's like detached from your life.
Has nothing to gain or lose.
Right. And they're just listening to you and your stories. And it's like they can see things so much differently than you see them because they're not attached to them.
Yeah. So
yeah.
That's been beneficial for me. I'm just always looking for things just to get better.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So currently you're still doing that?
Which part?
Looking for ways to get better.
Oh, always. Yeah. Just even today, I'm always working on my speech. I'm very so I grew up listening to rap music and battle rap, and in battle rap, all you have is words.
Yeah.
And it's your job to use as many of the words in any order to make your stuff as best, and you take pride in it, and you want to be the best at it. And I've taken that same approach in boxing with speaking, where I'm aggressive and I'm competitive. But unlike boxing, you can objectively be better than someone. You just beat someone up. And in speaking, it's not like that. And it's that competitiveness like I miss out of it. Like in my head, if there's 4 speakers speaking on like a stage, we're all in competition in my head. And I'm trying to murder everyone. I want everyone to do as best as they humanly can. I'm gonna do better than that. And when I get off stage, I'm gonna honestly tell myself, did I win or not? And if I find someone who I lost to, I ask if we can go get some coffee. I got some questions. How'd you get so good? Where'd you start? Where'd you mess up? What mistakes did you make? How would you fix those things? What do you see that I'm doing that I can change? And I don't see competition as a bad thing. But if I do find someone who's better than me at something, I'm like, oh, please, let's have lunch. Let's sit down. And I have a million questions. And the reverse of that, anytime when someone has any questions about speaking or they want to learn anything, I think the greatest thing you can give someone is information.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, knowledge.
No, well, and also an opportunity, but information is the second best.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's great. What else are you currently doing to like improve yourself right now? Like what else you have going on?
So I started boxing because of bullying. I looked at my life and I returned to boxing. I won nationals every year, and then I won the 2016 Olympic trials. And then I lost an international competition, didn't get to go to the games. It's like my 3rd Olympics. It's been 12 years. I looked at my life. I realized I've been doing this thing for a while. I don't even like boxing. How do I want to spend my time? And I thought about what was important to me, and that was speaking at high schools and middle schools and talking about bullying and mindset and kindness. But I always wanted to be a stand-up comic. And when I retired from boxing in 2016, I figured, okay, I'll start a speaking business, and that would give me the time and flexibility to chase the comedy career. So I started doing open mics and started performing around the country. So if I went to fight in Dallas, I'd do a comedy show in Dallas. At the Olympic trials, I fought in Reno, Nevada. I did 6 shows at the Laugh Factory the week leading to it. And I kind of pursued, as I was building my speaking business, I was doing comedy, but comedy took a back burner because I was a broke athlete throughout my 20s. So like I couldn't do that anymore. So I'd like focus on a career path. And now I can speak and I make a living doing that. And now I can pursue comedy. So I moved to Austin to do comedy. And I quickly realized there's just a lot of opportunities for open mics. And open mics, you get to perform 3 minutes. No one's paying attention to you. It's just other comics who heard you yesterday. And I figured there has to be another way. So I started Plug and Play Comedy, where I joined the Austin Apartment Association, paid a hefty membership fee to rub elbows at happy hours with property managers of luxury apartment complexes. And I convinced them to allow me to do comedy shows in their clubhouses. And I've booked, I'm at 43 shows since August. And that has been my new thing. I've just been doing a lot of shows. Did one on Halloween and the day before Halloween. And I've got 8 or 9 this month. And so just doing comedy has been my kind of passion. And I feel like people should do the thing they love doing. You don't necessarily have to make money doing it. And if you want to sing, you don't have to be on American Idol. You could just go to karaoke, or you can join your local choir or teach a kids group and sing. If you want to dance, just join a dance class. You don't have to be in Madison Square Garden. If you want to do comedy, you can just go to a local comedy club. When we think about our goals, we think it has to be so big and grand that you can't start. It's like, no. If you want to play basketball, you don't have to be in the NBA. Just go to a 24-hour fitness. Do you want to play basketball, or do you want to make an NBA? Those are 2 different goals.
Right. Well, and I think that's like a creative outlet of yours too. Like it's important to have creative outlets. And I think everybody should have some sort of outlet, whether it's, basketball or it's, painting or it's doing comedy. Like it's a really, really good way to express yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, I've been walking lately. It's pretty dope.
Walking is dope.
Yeah. I would have never thought. I have my Apple Watch, so I track my steps, but I leave my phone at home. And I just walk. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there nice trails over by where you live?
Yeah. I moved in this area. There's like a lake and it's nice. It's a nice area.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like trails and paths and bathrooms. And the problem. So I bought a Camel pack. I don't even go far enough to justify it, but I just don't like being thirsty. But I don't want to hold a water bottle. I'll go and I got an hour walk with my Camel pack. Problem is, like, I stay so hydrated. You just got to pee a lot. A lot of parks with bathrooms, not just porta potties, like actual bathrooms in this area.
Wow.
And that's
nice.
a win for me.
That is a win. Yeah, that's not easy to find. Here in Colorado, you can usually, when you go hiking and just, there's the woods.
Yeah, it's it's not that area.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to catch a charge out here.
Yeah, the thing about walking, especially in like probably where you're at and where I'm at, it's like nature. Connecting with nature is super important too for our mental health.
Yeah. I think here's something that I'm big on creating your own reality. And I think we're responsible for the reality we exist in, but we don't understand how much control we have. I have a friend who works from home and she loves true crime. She listens to true crime podcasts all day at work. She gets off work, she watches murder mysteries. Let's sum up her day. She listens to people be murdered all day, watches people get murdered in the evening, likely dreams of people at night.
Yeah, no, thank you.
We pulled into a parking lot and she said, "Oh, this would be a great place to murder a person." You'll never guess this about my friend, but she has anxiety.
Yes. Yeah.
How responsible are we for our reality, for our anxiety? I mean, I know a lot of people who watch the news. If you haven't taken direct action based off something you watched in the news in the last 7 days, it's not information, it's entertainment. And it's not the greatest entertainment for your soul. So are you familiar with your reticular activating system?
Yeah.
Okay, so for your listeners who aren't, so your brain takes in billions of information every moment. It's a lot of information, a lot of moment math. And your conscious mind can't process all of it, so it filters it through your RAS, your reticular activating system. So what you seek is what you find. So if you're looking for a yellow car all week, you don't buy a yellow car, but after that, you start seeing yellow cars everywhere. That's how it works. It's why whichever car you drive happens to be one of the most popular cars on the road. It's not. So if you wake up, if you tell your brain you're looking for a yellow car, you start to see yellow cars everywhere. If you start your day with looking at your timeline on your phone and you have the news in the background and it's literally death, rape, murder, genocide, destruction, what do you think you're going to start seeing every day in your life?
Yeah.
So I'm very conscious of the things I consume. I'm very big on what I follow on social media. Now it's less who you follow. It's no longer social media. It's just media because you don't see your friends' stuff anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. I've noticed that.
Yeah. So I had to remove social media from my phone. I have it on my laptop, but I just go through these little time warps and I never get off and I think, oh, that's great.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that hour really was awesome.
Yeah. Now I just went down some conspiracy theory rabbit hole.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now I want to debate with someone about something.
Start like texting people.
Yeah.
I know. Social media has become and news, like all of it. It's just I don't even have a TV at home, but I do have social media on my phone. And every day I'm like, why do I have this? Why am I putting myself? And it's like every day I get like more and more sick of it. And so I like will watch it for a couple minutes and then I'm like, ugh, like turn it off. But then I'll do it again for a couple minutes. I'm like, why am I doing this? Like there's nothing on here that like is interesting. You know what I mean? Or good.
Oh, I know exactly.
Yes.
I 100% get it. I had to remove it from my phone because I'll close it. I'm like, oh, gross, close it out. And then I don't know, somehow it ends back up on my phone. I'm like 3 videos in and I catch myself like, oh, what are we doing here? When I travel for a gig or something, I'll put Instagram on my phone. But I try to say, and still sometimes I'll be on my laptop. I'm like, no, we're supposed to work here. This is not where we do social media either. It's just a dopamine hit. It's a drug.
It is.
It's not going to last long. The new generation, I guess Gen Alpha. So like even Mick Jagger's kids doesn't think he's cool. No one thinks what their parents do is cool.
Right.
If all of your parents are on social media, you don't think social media is cool. So this new generation of kids aren't really into it the way we are. So hopefully that stops a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's going to stop before that. I'm hoping it stops before that because it's gotten so, it's just out of control. I feel like, you know what I mean? With the kids on the phone all the time. I mean, I know my son, I'm going to get him a flip phone.
Oh, hit him with T9 texting.
Yeah. I mean, you know, doesn't turn 18 for another year. So
yeah, I wouldn't even know how to go about raising a child in this current environment, because if you keep the technology from them, you're essentially holding them back in the future, because I mean, that's how everything is working through technology. I'm glad I don't have to have an opinion on this. That's one of my things I also learned. You don't have to have an opinion.
You can just listen.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Awesome. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about before we share? Or?
Yeah. So something that I also did, because my idea with boxing was I had my second fight and I fought a guy with 60 fights and I lost. And he was just so much better than me. And everyone there knew I was going to lose other than me. And then I realized how important experience is. So like if boxer A had 3 boxing matches and boxer B had 100 and they were to fight, you would bet on boxer B. And you don't need to know their record. They could be 5 wins and 95 losses, but experience is that powerful. So my thought with boxing is, if a boxer has 60 fights, that's a lot. I'm just going to get 100. And then after that, all my fights are going to be pretty easy. And that's the approach I took. So reps make you better. So when I got into speaking, I wanted to be the best speaker possible. I figured, well, I'll just speak at 200 schools a year and I'll just be undeniably good. And now with comedy, I'm trying to do the same thing. And what I've been doing is I put on, other than just also these luxury apartment comedy shows, I've been throwing comedy shows for charities. And I find other comics, we do the show for free, and we donate 100% of the door to the charity of choice. And I think the next one is going to be Well Aware. It's a nonprofit that builds wells in Kenya, here in Austin. Kind of random, but just taking different paths to get where you're going. Like, it's the cool thing about life now is you don't need permission anymore.
Yeah.
You have access to all the information. You just ask ChatGPT, what do I need to do to start next? And you could just start taking steps.
Yeah, exactly. And repetition is important. It's just like, practicing basketball, practicing anything is like going to get you to that next level.
Yeah.
Repetitive steps. Yep.
Yeah. And be delusional your entire way there.
Exactly. Be delusional. Be delulu.
Be delulu. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you talking to me and sharing your stories.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Hopefully we'll talk again.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, great. Have a good day.
You too.
What an inspiring conversation with Cam F. Awesome, a true champion who reminded us that when you shift your perception, you can write a story and inspire others to do the same. If you or someone you know has a story of growth, healing, and transformation, visit our website and sign up to be a guest on Carlita Talk. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow PPSV Charities for more stories that uplift and empower the community.